This conference will now be recorded.
Well, thank you all for joining us on Labor Day here in 2020. Appreciate you sharing a little bit of your time on the long weekend. Just to talk real briefly about the format for the meeting. I've muted from my side everybody right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute you one at a time, so you can introduce yourself, take a minute or two to say who you are, maybe even what part of the country you're in, what your product or service is, and then maybe most importantly, what would be a good referral or a good client for you. And then once we get through that round of introductions, I'll just open it up for everybody, and hopefully the introductions will trigger some questions from other people. And then after that, if we still have a little bit of time, maybe just a general business conversation. And I'm going to try to end this on time, which normally I don't, so I'll take credit for that failure. But I'm going to try to end this sometime in case you have other meetings at 3 or just want to enjoy the long weekend. So first, and I'm going to go in alphabetical order here, just as I have people here. First one is on my list is Alejandra, who has been with us a bunch of times. So now she's an old pro at this. I felt bad the very first time she joined us because she was top of the list, but now she's a veteran. So if you want to introduce yourself, please, to the rest of the group.
Absolutely, Sal. Well, first and foremost, I want to wish everybody a happy Labor Day weekend. I don't know, it's a very busy day. If I look at my agenda, I have a full day, so I'm laboring on the Labor Day weekend. But first and foremost, I want to do that. And second, I want to thank Sal, as always, for having this platform ready for all of us to be able to connect and generate friendships. I come every single 2 weeks religiously. Just because I love this group of people and the friendships that we're forming here. And I actually my name is Alejandra. You hear an accent. I'm originally from the country of Uruguay, but I live in the United States. I actually have a residency in Florida, but I'm in Pennsylvania right now, so I kind of hop around a little bit. So I actually have a business in a company called ACN. So I'm an independent owner within ACN. And what we do is we market services. We partner up with major corporations that everybody knows by name to offer, essential services and help people save money on services that they're already paying, such as their electric or their internet, TV, etc. And by doing that, I actually help, individuals generate residual income. That's my favorite part of my business, is the ability to help other people to generate residual income on services, passive income. So a good referral for me would be, anybody that is open to another stream of income. But if you want to be a little bit more specific, I think we're living in a COVID world right now where, people are hurting and needing another opportunity. So if you know anybody that is a business owner or just works for someone, is probably not making the same money that they're doing pre-COVID. And then another good resource, maybe just not as straightforward for you, is I work a lot in the real estate world. So any real estate professionals, such as agents or brokers or even title people or mortgage people, every single time they work with either a new business owner, a new homeowner, or a new tenant, those people have to set up services. So they're in front of a client. So it's a way for them on a one-time transaction to generate passive income on something they're already doing, an ancillary service, if you may. So that's my story, and I'm looking forward to hearing yours.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let's see. And just going down my list. See, the good news is Alejandra set the stage for all of us to follow. So Brian, same thing. If you could introduce yourself, where you're from, product, service, kind of what would be a good lead or a good client for you.
Okay. Well, my name is Brian. I'm actually Alejandra's business partner. So she introduced me to this nice group, and I thank you for having me come here today. Thank you, Alejandra. My background is I have a background in sales, and I have a long-standing background as a ski instructor. So that's probably my most long-standing that, training, teaching, it's been a wonderful experience. Wouldn't trade it for any other professional experience that led me up to this point. So now I'm looking to go to the next level. So yes, I work with Alejandra and her team, and it's been an amazing experience. I had no idea that I would ever meet her and the members of our team. I had no idea that people were out there doing this type of work and changing the lives of many people. So I'm very grateful, and it's the same network marketing based in services. So I look forward to meeting everyone else here as well.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. And Jack, now we can see you and now we can hear you.
Hi,
If you could,
hi everybody. Again, happy Labor Day. I'm not sure why we're all laboring today, but this is not laboring. This is fun and getting to meet everybody and hear your stories and what you do and so forth. So anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed this, Sal, since you introduced this to me a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago now. But my background, I kind of fancy myself a creative marketing specialist, having come out of the advertising agency business. Started my own agency a lot of years ago. I ran it for about 25, 30 years and decided at the turn of the century it was time to move on and kind of just get involved with projects, which kind of got me a lot more excited than the traditional ad agency business. And I'm currently working with a first of its kind patent pending beverage technology where you can take any kind of a plastic cup and create an inner frozen shell of the actual product. And it basically what it does, it prevents dilution. We're working on it. I don't know if you all know Bethany Frankel, the gal that she's actually from Shark Tank fame and developed the Skinny Girl wine and margarita line of products. But she's actually going to be our spokesperson for the residential unit. But what I'm doing now, and the reason I came on, I'm also in network marketing. I work with a company, Malaluka. I've been with them now for 17 years. They're a 35-year-old science-based manufacturing company. I think they're the largest manufacturer now in the Pacific Northwest. And they've evolved they're actually known as the Wellness Company now. They've evolved into the largest online wellness shopping club in North America. And they're basically a green company. They market wellness products in about 7 or 8 categories, over 400 products. And we're not distributors, though. I mean, we're not Amway or the Avon lady. We don't sell products. We don't inventory. We're actually practicing, which is kind of what Brian and Alejandra do, and we call it intellectual distribution, where customers are basically educating others about their products and services. So again, we're not distributors. We don't take orders, make deliveries, anything like that. So it's been a great supplemental deal for me. It actually got me out of the corporate world a lot easier than I could have before. And what we're looking for basically are people that are proactive towards health and wellness, that are looking for better, safer products. If not you may have family members, particularly interested in families with young children, get the toxins out of the house. No childproof caps are required on any of our products because there's no harsh ingredients. There's no chlorine bleach, no ammonia, no abrasives, no phthalates, no triclosan. So it's just a better, safer product line. And we're also looking for people that might like to supplement, diversify their income a little bit if they want to help tell the story. Again, not sell the product, but tell the story and help promote the brand. So that's it for me. Thanks for listening.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And then moving right on down the list, Nick, if you would like to introduce yourself, please.
Yes, good afternoon. Nick Sullivan here in Raleigh, North Carolina, but I can work nationally. My company, Sullivan Business Solutions, offer a portfolio of business solutions to business owners and employees. One part of my business is capturing specialized incentives and expense reduction opportunities for businesses. Obviously during this difficult time, COVID affected many businesses adversely. Many have exhausted their PPP funds. Well, we can help. There's other available funds for these businesses, and they can often be significant. And we capture them on a contingency basis, so we only win if the customer wins. For example, there's for if companies are hiring or rehiring employees, there's employee workers' opportunity tax credits that are $2,400 to $9,600 per employee. And so most companies don't benefit from this, but most should. If you hire a veteran or someone unemployed, there's all these different categories. And that's just one example. If they own buildings, there's other incentives. For example, I worked with a hotel a few weeks ago. We identified $400,000. So this could make a difference in saving jobs, keeping businesses afloat, and making a huge difference for the owner. So good referrals for this part of my business. CPAs, we're a transparent business because usually they don't have the skill set. We'll partner with client CPAs, open book. Commercial realtors, anyone selling businesses, commercial insurance, that arena, and Main Street businesses, anywhere from the dry cleaner, the software company, the manufacturer. We can, it's worth taking a look. It only takes 10 minutes initially to identify a possibility of eligibility. Also, the other part of my business, because I'm in the business owner space, is I partner with Legal Shield for the last 10 years to be able to eliminate the high hourly rates so that business owners can just pay a small monthly fee so they can be more interested in protecting their business, making the right decisions, having the contract reviews, the debt collection letters, all those types of things that can be very expensive. We eliminate that for the business owner. We can also offer it as an employee benefit, legal and identity theft benefits, as a voluntary resource to employees with no out-of-pocket expense for the employer, so that when people are dealing with life's issues, getting their wills done, speeding kids, debt issues, buying property, all that, it can often be a distraction at work. So we can help them be more productive at work. So that's what I do, and I'll stick with it. Nick Sullivan, Sullivan Business Solutions.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And as we continue to work our way down, Rhoda, who is a new addition to our group. Again, we have a nice mix of people that have been here before and new people. So Rhoda, welcome. If you could please introduce yourself to the group.
Happy Labor Day, everybody. So I am in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I am a long retired certified financial planner who was also a financial journalist throughout my career. And so when I retired, I turned that into a business. And my business today consists of a team of ghost writers. And we write materials for the web primarily, for websites and blogs. So we are ghost writing the blogs for professional practitioners, including a CPA, an attorney, different kinds, and retailers, and sometimes organizations. So the idea is that we do the scut work of keeping up the content, because most business owners and professionals simply don't have the time to write about what they do on an ongoing, consistent basis. So the difference between your website and your blog is that your blog is now. Your blog is this week, something that you're talking about this week that has to do with what you're experiencing and what your customers are experiencing now. So we are doing the work of writing that. We sometimes do newsletters. All of the writers are here in Indiana, but the clients are all over the place. So the clients can be anywhere. So we are looking for retirement communities. That's a very good topic. So good topics for us are things where relatives and customers have a lot of questions. A cosmetic surgeon, for example, you would want to know a whole lot about the field before signing up. So wherever there's a lot to talk about, that's a good topic for us. So if you know a business, we work in one of two ways. Either we are directly working with the client. The client is paying us a monthly fee to write for them. Or we are subcontracting to a marketing agency. So if you know a marketing agency that needs work done and you don't have the manpower to get the writing done on a consistent basis, that's where we come in. So we say it for you.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. I'm going to introduce myself briefly because I always forget to do that. And then I'll turn it again over for hopefully some of the introductions have triggered questions. But before I do that, A couple of things that I forgot to mention at the beginning, and I think Alejandra said it, and I see some of you doing it. But please put your contact information in the chat, because after this meeting is done, I will share with you both the video recording and the chat log. So if any of you want to talk to any of you further one-on-one after this meeting, you'll have the contact information there, so that you can set up those further conversations one-on-one. Two, like I said, I will share this recording with you. I post it on YouTube and I share it with you. And YouTube has a very nice feature, by the way, is when you go to share on YouTube, it allows you to create a custom link that starts at a different point at the very beginning of the recording. So, for example, you can create a custom link that starts where you're introducing yourself, or maybe where you're talking about something later on, and then use that to put on your website, Facebook, whatever you want to do. And then real quick, the last thing I'll say is, to me, this is a forum that should be for the benefit of all of us. So please feel free to invite guests or people that you know, business colleagues, whatever, that you think could take advantage of meeting some of the other folks on here. And by the way, whenever somebody invites somebody, they get to come and participate for free. I mean, obviously, this is very low cost, it's $4.99, so I don't think it's breaking anybody's bank. But as a token of appreciation, if you invite somebody, then you can just come up for free, and it's a win-win-win all around. Real quick, just to introduce myself, I'm Sal Acosta. I'm a business broker. I help people buy and sell businesses. Since they come in all shapes and sizes, I usually deal with businesses that are 10 to 250 employees, maybe 0 to about 10 or $20 million in revenue maximum. And I know this is getting tough because of the coronavirus, but hopefully still, in spite of the coronavirus, positive cash flow or break even, anywhere from 0 to about $1 million or $2 million in revenue. Ideal client, beyond simply somebody that owns a business and wants to sell it, or somebody who wants to buy a business, is somebody that maybe started their business from scratch 10, 20, 30 years ago, has worked on it and grown it for 10, 20, 30 years, and now wants to sell it and retire, to go play golf in Florida with Jack, or hang out with the grandkids, or take the RV cross country. And I always tell them, well, before you can do that in style, you got to come see me. We got to sell the business. We got to cash you out so that you can use that, plus Social Security, plus any other savings that you may have, to do that retirement in style. Prior to the coronavirus, I would have said I do a 2-hour radius around the Pittsburgh area. Now that everybody's getting so used to doing business over video chat, really we can help anybody in the nation. And we're starting to get clients from different places like Las Vegas and out in California and Boston. So, again, if they're willing to work with us over video chat and email and phone, then we're certainly willing to work with them. And that was my introduction. Let me see. Okay, from my side, everybody's unmuted. The only thing I'll say is, one of the differences between these meetings and a real live meeting is if two people talk at the same time, then in a live meeting you can hear the both, and here you can't hear either one. But did the introductions trigger any questions or comments from anybody to anybody? Rhoda, go ahead.
I have a question for you. Who does the legal work in the transaction when you sold the business?
Well, that's a good question. Usually I represent the seller, and usually the seller has a lawyer that they want to have them do the legal paperwork, either because it's the lawyer they've had for many years and they like and they trust, or it comes recommended by a friend. Sometimes they ask me. And what I do is, if they have no lawyer that, again, they've developed a relationship, whatever, I always recommend 3 different lawyers that I know can do the work and do it well and do it quickly. I won't recommend one, but I'll recommend 3 and say, listen, interview these 3 like you would interview any other professional. and pick the one you like. Sellers or buyers, I'm sorry, same thing. They usually have a lawyer that they've worked with or have a relationship with. And obviously, if I'm representing the seller, I just don't do anything with the buyer other than tell them, hey, I suggest you find one. Can I answer your question, Rhoda?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody to anybody?
Brian, this is Jack. I just wanted to. I'm pretty familiar with your company, and I've gotten to know Alejandra a little bit here. I wanted to wish you all the best. You're somewhat new to the company, is that right?
Correct. Yes, since June.
You have a wonderful leader, I can tell you that. I mean, I would certainly follow in her footsteps. You've got an awesome mentor there, and I want to wish you the best. It's a great company. They've been around a long time, and I'm fairly familiar with them. So lots of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Nick and Rhoda, I guess the question I would have, I mean, how would I know talking with somebody that they might be a good prospect for you? I mean, I know kind of what you're looking for, but to me, the best marketing tool we have are good questions, and sometimes engaging in conversation and asking questions. I mean, how would I know that it might be a good prospect for you? Maybe starting with you, Rhoda.
Okay. How would you know a good prospect for me?
If I'm having a conversation with somebody, yeah, and how would I maybe determine it might be a prospect for you?
Two ways. One is through their website, that you're looking at the website of this person whom you've met, and everybody always checks everyone out through the website. And
Okay.
you notice that there is no blog tab. That's number one. So you
Okay.
can ask, have you ever thought of? But more
Okay.
importantly, they do have a blog tab, and you click on it, and the latest entry was 2 years ago.
Okay.
That's more frequent than you might imagine, because it's very hard to keep up.
Sure, that's somewhat common too.
So that's the ideal client, is someone who understands that they should have a blog, but they simply couldn't do it.
Okay.
So that's a very good way.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you. Okay.
But
Well,
Rhoda, let me ask you a question because you just triggered something in my mind. And a while back, and I'm obviously not going to say who it is, but I will say it's a very well-known, very sophisticated, very high-end legal practice in Pittsburgh. I went to their website, and I was actually looking for something else, but I saw the blog, like you said, and I actually clicked on it. And exactly what you said, I was surprised that you could tell that at one point that they had a nice effort. They had, these blogs from their different lawyers, weekly or monthly, whatever. And then all of a sudden, a couple of years ago, it just stopped. I said, okay, fine. But how do you help them in the sense that their old blog entries were very specialized, very sophisticated, talking about cases in their industry that were coming up that were affecting the sort of the jurisprudence and whatever. How can you write blogs for them without sort of being a lawyer yourself? Let me say it that way.
In fact, the nicest compliment I've ever received in a testimonial was from a bankruptcy attorney who was my first client. Now, even though I was a financial planner, I was not an expert in bankruptcy. And here was his testimonial. I wish I could say I had written these blogs because Rhoda has begun to sound just like me. So that's the trick of it, is to get into the head of the owner and really interact with them and understand where they're coming from and begin to sound like them. That's the whole point. I do have an idea for you, so that relates to me. I write a blog for a local estate planning attorney who is a very high level, very well-known estate planning attorney. And one of the things she does is help with the business end when her clients own a business. And so you could actually write or be an interviewee of mine, and I could write about the stages of selling a business and then adapt that for a blog post that I'm writing for her. So you and I could talk about that.
Absolutely. That's the type of conversation that I mentioned that now that everybody has everybody's contact information, hopefully in the chat. I mean, obviously, I know you and I were connected before, but absolutely, I'll follow up with you on that at some point after this meeting.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. It's hard for me to help with network marketing people in the sense that they are franchisee, not technically, but I know network marketing. And so they cannot write about things without sort of getting the approval of the whole network. So that's become an impediment for writing for somebody like you, for example, representing a particular company. It's wonderful material and it would be great to write about.
Right. I don't know, because there are teams out there, and just thinking out loud, that have their own websites where they don't necessarily put marketing materials of the business, because that's done by the company, and you're 100% right. We can't modify that. But I don't know in your case, Jack and Nick, but I know in our world, there are teams that talk about the leaders and other things that are probably just not related to the specific marketing materials of the company. So if I think of our website, just my team's website particularly, which is not my website, but is our team's website particularly, which is outside of the website for my ACN, we have stories of the leaders, and the leaders are always changing. And one thing that I observe, so I will get with you separately, one thing that I observe is we have a lot of promotions, and sometimes the newest leaders are probably not showcased as they probably should in our website, because we don't have the time. We barely have time to breathe at our level. So it's hard to keep up with those type of things. So there are things out there that you can work with in our world. And I don't know if Jack and Nick, if you are on the same token that you see that your teams have their own websites outside of the networking. Do you guys operate that way as well?
Well, I think most people use the company websites.
Yeah, we have that for our marketing part of it, but then we have, our materials, recognition for our team. We have like a separate.
Right. Some people do that.
Yeah, we definitely have that. So we follow the recognition from the company, but then we do also do internal recognition.
Yeah, I mean, compliance is obviously.
Oh, big time. I was VP of compliance for American Express in a prior life that I don't want to remember. So.
The secret to compliance with financial services. So.
Yes.
Right. Well, the secret to a good blog is consistency, right? You have to do it weekly or daily or.
Yes, ideally it's once a week.
Once a week.
Be a very good frequency, and the ideal length, as far as my style is somewhat between 300 and 500 words. So essentially a screen, an article that you can read. It's not some of them are longer, some of them are shorter, but primarily it's a screen.
That's a great service that you offer, Rhoda, and I tell you, it was a wonderful testimonial you had too, from that estate. It was an estate planner, or
right? That was a bankruptcy attorney.
Attorney, yeah, that was great.
Which was really funny.
Now let me ask you this, Rhoda: do they give you like direct access to their website with a password or something, so you can post directly to their website?
In some cases, for example, I am writing the blog. Remember, there's a team of 6 people, but I am personally writing the blog for a personal injury attorney here in Indiana. He's nationally known. It's a couple. And in their case, they hired a California firm to design their website. So when I write the blog, I'm sending it to the California, he's approving it first. I'm writing it, he's approving it, then it's going to California and they're posting it. But with the other clients, mostly I'm posting it. They're giving me access to the back end.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, but you're right. How many times you've gone to a page and then their material's not updated and it just looks bad.
I know.
It just really looks bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like you said, Rhoda. I would rather not have a blog tab at all
That's
than
right.
to have a blog tab that you go and it shows that the last entry was 2, 3 years ago because it tells you they've given up. It wasn't that important. They
The
tried, they
message,
failed.
yes,
So
that's right. It's the message that they're conveying without realizing it. Yeah.
okay. Hey Brian, question for you because I think I missed that, and obviously I know you're with Alejandra, but are you also in the Pittsburgh area or somewhere else?
I'm sorry, I mentioned that before. I'm in northern New Jersey.
Mm.
Northern New Jersey. Okay.
So
All right.
we are well, for those who are not around here, we are most, I guess, historically known in this area where I'm from. Once upon a time, you remember the old Playboy clubs? Some people remember, right? Okay, we used to have one in my town.
Okay.
I feel we can't answer that definitively, can we?
That was a landmark. That there was a lot of celebrities, and my family came up here because of that. That just going to see the shows, and it was wonderful back in the day before my time, and that fizzled out over time. But we're known for that. We're also known for our ski resorts industry. So that's what puts my town on the map. We're a Four Seasons town. We're like kind of a resort area. So yeah.
What is your town, Brian? What town is it?
Vernon.
Pardon me?
Vernon.
Oh, Vernon, New Jersey. Okay.
Vernon, New Jersey. Yep.
When I was young, I lived in Plainfield for a year. Is that how far is Vernon from Plainfield?
Okay. Okay.
Now you have. Let me ask you this, and maybe I'm confused here, but when you talk, it sounds to me a little bit like a Boston accent.
I'm not from Boston. I'm a Yankees fan.
Great.
All right, I'm like way off.
That's funny. Yeah, so
People have said that to me that I have an accent.
Brian never had a network experience, and I told him to come because this type of events are incredible to build relationships and friendships and business. And we do business with people we know, like, and trust. And so I told him, come experience sales because it's very well organized and it will give you a very good flavor of how things are run, during a network event. So I invited him over and he said, yeah, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, and I got to tell you, Nick and I were actually
Thank you,
talking
Jack.
a little bit, a couple of minutes, before 2 that the rest of you started showing up and whatever. I mean, the nice thing about this is, I mean, you're gonna get close to the same experience that if you do a live networking event. But you're going to save yourself the time. You're going to save yourself the commute. You're going to save yourselves the fancy, expensive drinks at some bar somewhere. The only thing you can't do is obviously shake hands, trade business cards, but we can put our contact information in the chat. So it's really a much more effective process in terms of engaging with other people and letting other people know what you do so they can help you find leads and things like that.
Sal, do you do evaluations of the businesses? And I mean, a lot of business owners are looking to support their retirement by selling their business, right? And sometimes they can overestimate it many times. Is that sometimes the case, or?
Well, so let me say this. First of all, I'll be very honest. I am not a big fan of valuations, and I'll tell you why. Is they're usually way off. Okay. A lot of times I'll have a business owner do evaluation before they even engage me because, to your point, they want to kind of have an idea of what this business could be worth. And the people that evaluate these businesses, I'll be honest, always tend to shoot high. Okay. And I tell them, I said, listen, when the guy did the valuation and gave you a nice fancy report and send you the invoice, did you pay the invoice right away? Or did you do a stomp dance and told him that you were crazy and you were going to sue him and you were going to never pay his invoice, right? You paid his invoice. You were happy. And I tell him now, in my mind, what you have is a fancy marketing piece. Okay. Just like you have business cards, maybe some flyers, maybe a website, etc. To me, those valuations are just marketing pieces to be able to go to a prospective buyer and say, hey, listen, we had an independent third party do this valuation. Usually they're, like I said, they're too high. The flip side is, and this is a little bit situational, the only way you're going to meet the valuation or exceed the valuation is if one of two things happen. Either one, you find a really, really strategic, synergistic buyer that is willing to identify those synergies, quantify those synergies, and share the value with the seller. Or you get into a bidding match and some of the potential buyers, quite frankly, become a little bit irrational. Those are the only ways that you're going to come up even higher than evaluation. Other than that, you're going to come lower. Now, long story short, if they ask me, like, what is my business worth? I'll tell them. I mean, I have a pretty good idea. I have pretty good rules of thumb. I'm not going to prepare a formal valuation for them simply because you can never get paid for the amount of work it takes to do it correctly. Matter of fact, I'll tell you this. I've been going to now that everything's online, there's seminars throughout the country. I mean, just to give you an idea, valuations can be as cheap as $500, and they can be as expensive as 10 or 20,000. Okay, and neither one to me is very good.
Right.
So anyway, I'm sorry for a long answer to a short question, and maybe the answer that you didn't want.
Yeah, and a lot of times, should owners, if they're selling their business, should they start to build systems in place? Because sometimes a business is dependent on the personality and everybody loves Joe type of business. And if that Joe leaves the business, he might not be as, valuable. So should they start to kind of build systems that go beyond themselves before they sell?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm going to plug this since you're kind of alluding to it anyway, and I can send you a link for it. I actually wrote a book. It's exactly that, Secrets to Buying or Selling a Business. And these topics that you're talking about are right on there, and you can get it on Amazon. The electronic version is like $9.99. But to answer your question, you're absolutely right. One of the things that you have to be very careful with is when the business gets sold, how much value goes away and disappears with that owner that's retiring. So to your point, as you're even thinking 5 years out of selling the business, if you're the owner and you're doing all the sales calls, you should be thinking about hiring a salesperson. If you're running the factory day to day, finding an operations manager, a supervisor, whatever, because you want to make it that when you sell and disappear, everything works as normal business, from a people perspective, from a processes and a systems perspective. Okay, you want to make it as transparent for the new owner as possible, because that's exactly what they're looking for. And maybe I'll even go a step further. I mean, sometimes business owners don't want to hire employees because, of all the things, right? You train them and they quit, the benefits, the this, the that. So they do everything possible not to hire employees. And I get it. I've been a business owner myself, but those employees are very valuable to the new owner because they're the ones that are going to help them run the business smoothly when he takes over. So again, sorry for another long answer to a short question, but
answer the question.
you hit the nail on the head in terms of the issues.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'll backtrack for a second to your valuation question, because my favorite way to value a business is to put it out for sale and see what kind of offers you get. Okay. And remember, you can do it one of two ways. You can put it out with a price, or you can even put it out without a price. Okay. But I'll give you this as a real life example. Real life example. I had a business owner that came to me. He had a valuation that said his business was worth $700,000. Okay. And I looked at the valuation. There was nothing wrong with the valuation in terms of methodology. It was exactly how I would have done it if I would have done the valuation. The problem came in the estimates and the assumptions forward looking in terms of his growth rate. Okay, and the discounts used on the discounted cash flows, and I wasn't going to get into that because that's a little bit technical. Long story short, he said the business was worth $700,000. I looked at it and I said, listen, I hate to burst your bubble, but this thing is worth 300,000. Okay, but listed for 700,000. I said, fine. I listed it for 700,000. I kid you not. We got 3 offers between like 290,000 and 310 or 320,000. And when we got those 3 offers from 3 different parties, I went back to them. I said, listen, here's this offer, here's this offer, here's offer. What do you think your business is worth? He said, fine, Sal, you win. I agree. It's worth 300,000. But then guess what? I don't want to sell it. I'll keep it. I said, fine. That's your choice.
Yeah, that's what the market offers.
You know your business, Sal. That was very informative.
Well, I mean, it's honestly not rocket science. I mean, it's,
You've had a lot of experience.
yeah, but yeah, the bumps and the bruises and the falls and then get up again.
Right.
And that's why, by the way, again, not to belabor this too much, that's why I always say a good typical client is somebody that wants to retire, because the sellers are never happy with what they're going to get for the business. And I get it. They put blood, sweat, and tears into it for 10, 20, 30 years. It's their baby, right? There's a very strong emotional component. There's a very strong emotional attachment. So the flip side to that is you need to have a very important non-financial interest for you to sell. Usually that very important non-financial interest is you want to retire. Sometimes it's you want to relocate. Sometimes it's not nice things like a divorce or something like that, or the one spouse that was running the business passing away, whatever. But you always need to have a motivator beyond the pure financials for it to make sense to sell a small business.
Right.
I think we have another guest there, Jorge.
Yeah, he just arrived.
Oh, let me see. Hold on. Yeah, we have Jorge. Let me send you. You're muted. Jorge, can you unmute yourself and share your webcam? Oh, here we go.
Oh, that might be it. Can anyone hear me now?
Yeah, we can see you and we can see you. Jorge, how are you?
Oh, fantastic. Good. I'm so sorry for being late to the party, everybody.
Well, no, listen, that's fine. And we do need to, like I said, maybe quit in a couple minutes.
Sure.
But why don't you introduce yourself to the rest of the group? Mention your product or service, where you are geographically, who would be a good client or a good lead for you?
Certainly. Hi, everybody. Hello again, Jack. It's good to see everyone. My name is Jorge Castro. I'm the founder and managing partner of Discover Me, web services for small business. And we're in Hartford, Connecticut. And essentially what we do is we exist to provide affordable access to essential professional web services for small businesses, startups, nonprofits, things as simple as having their own website, which a shocking number of small businesses today, still don't have. There's many more that have, old, outdated websites, something someone threw together over the last few years, but doesn't really work very well. And for too long, going to a digital marketer, they wanted $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to do even the most basic website. What we're able to do is, for as little as 500, provide small businesses with, as I said, a professionally built, maintained website. We include a year's worth of service, monthly analytic reports. You can always, a personal point of contact. You can always call us. You can always call me if you're having any trouble, if you have any questions, if you need anything at all. So we're really looking, as I said, to provide affordable access to these essential services that smaller businesses have just been priced out of and shut out of for way too long. So we're really all about giving the little guys that don't get the opportunity to shine as much as they deserve. but we're here to give them all, every single one, that opportunity.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Don't forget to put your information, your contact information in the chat box that I will distribute after the meeting so people can contact you if they want to do a follow-up. Are there any questions for Jorge from anybody else in the group?
Would you do your websites all over the U.S. or?
Yep, we that's one of the things that's been a bit of a silver lining in terms of the pandemic. Was originally we were planning to just really kind of do natural sort of organic geographic growth, meaning start in Hartford, work our way to the Connecticut borders, New York, Boston. But what this has really made us all do by giving us this all shove into the virtual world is really sort of look at new horizons, look at new way of doing things. And since our plan was always to turn this into a brand, like we want to make this the answer to that question all across the country. If anyone knows someone, or if you yourselves are starting a little side business, a little something, wherever there's any kind of small business that needs a professional website, that you don't need something fancy, something that's thousands of dollars, we want to be that answer for, hey, who do I call, all across the country. So by being able to streamline our onboarding process, we'll be able to help out businesses, really anywhere.
Cool.
Awesome.
What platform are you using?
Right now, we're creating the sites on WordPress, but in 2021, we're going to be debuting our own proprietary site builder, which is going to use templates like any of the big do-it-yourself sites do. But what we're going to be able to do is input the information from a client's business, the name, phone number, address, the things that a small business basically needs.
Yeah.
And for example, I'll be able to present a potential client with 5 different versions of what their website could look like in different styles and formats with their information already inputted at the very first time we meet. So we'll be able to create sites, just like that. But for now, we're using WordPress, and the whole reason why we're able to do sites for 500 instead of 5,000 for small businesses is that most digital marketers, when they're talking about a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 website, they're talking about something custom built from the ground up. You're building every site, the code from the very beginning. But most small business, the reason you would do that is if you needed to integrate your website with existing computer systems, administrative, payroll, POS. If you had a bigger business and more things happening, that you did need a sophisticated site to do all of these things, that's what you need a website that's thousands of dollars for. But for small businesses, some of whom might not even have a computerized POS system, they don't need that level of complexity of sophistication. So it's paying, it's paying when you need all you need is a Honda Accord to get to work. They're trying to sell you a 600 Mercedes, and it's just not the right fit.
What's the range of cost for that?
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Rhoda, what was that?
What's the range of cost for that basic website?
It begins at 500, and our first 3 packages that could also include online ordering and social media management are going to be mostly between $500 and $1,500, depending on the individual business's needs. Like, for example, there was a brewery we were talking with that for their social media management, with the basic package, we include 1 complimentary content update per month. But for somebody that was doing live events constantly, that needed to post, a couple of times a day, well, if you need extra things like that, sure, it's going to cost, a little more. But there isn't anything that the smallest businesses, as I said, really need, sort of beyond that 500. And the ones that do, it's going to be between 5 and 1,500. Most of our packages. Now, we also do the custom build stuff, because my partner is a senior level software engineer. He's a lead developer with a Fortune 100 company. So even though we're starting with the most basic, simple websites, we have a level of expertise on in-house, on staff, that the vast majority of digital marketers that you'll find out there just simply do not have. So if you need a $5,000 website, you know, we can do it for less than 5,000, obviously, but we can do anything, which is the future for us.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No, you have to, or I'll talk forever.
No, it's just that I need to end the meeting so everybody can be on time for 3 p.m. But let me make a quick suggestion before I shut down is, Rhoda, I know you put your information in the chat log, and Jorge, if you could do the same thing. Because I think you two should talk after the fact, because Rhoda does a lot of things, including blog posts on a repetitive basis. That might be something nice that the people that get a website from you then want to have it to, you know, the blogs to be populated on a weekly basis, and Rhoda can help with that.
Certainly.
All right, guys. It is 2:58. I appreciate the interest, the nice conversation. I do want to get everybody out of here on time. The nice thing is, by the way, we're going to do this again in 2 weeks. So this is obviously not the last we'll see of each other. Please sign up to do it again in 2 weeks, and we will continue the conversation.
I'll be in touch, Ray.
Appreciate it. See everybody.
Have a good one.
All right.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Enjoy the day.
Thank you. You all too.